Greatness is rarely a straight line. Success is often hidden behind struggles, setbacks, and moments that feel like failure. Many people see only the end results, the fame, the wealth, the recognition, but the journey is filled with trials that shape character and determination. What seems like losing can sometimes be the exact step that leads to winning. This truth is reflected in the lives of countless individuals who changed the world despite facing early defeats. In a quiet town, there lived a young man named Daniel. He was neither wealthy nor connected, yet his mind was filled with big ideas. The ambition he carried was rare, but his path forward seemed anything but smooth. Daniel dreamed of opening a cafe, a small place where people could gather, relax, and experience something special. He imagined a business that would not just survive, but grow, and eventually become a part of the community's heartbeat. When he finally secured a small loan and rented a modest shop on the main street, Daniel felt both excitement and fear. The space was tiny, the equipment basic, and the competition fierce. Every evening, he would close the cafe, exhausted from managing every detail himself. From cleaning to cooking to taking orders, every task fell on his shoulders. Yet, despite all his effort, customers were few. Sales were lower than expected, and each day ended with a growing sense of disappointment. 2 months into the venture, Daniel faced a critical moment. Bills were piling up, supplies were running low, and he struggled to pay even the small salary he had promised his assistant. On several nights, he wondered if giving up would be easier than continuing. From the outside, it seemed like failure was certain. The cafe was not thriving, and his savings were disappearing faster than he had imagined. But amidst the struggle, a lesson was quietly taking root. One chilly morning, Daniel noticed a small change. A regular customer, an elderly man who had been quiet for weeks, complimented the coffee and suggested a few improvements. His words were simple but precise, pointing out how a slight adjustment in the menu and presentation could attract more visitors. Daniel listened carefully and decided to experiment with the advice. He adjusted the menu, improved the seating, and focused on creating a warmer atmosphere. The results were not immediate. For weeks, foot traffic remained sparse. There were days when the cafe earned barely enough to cover basic costs. Friends and neighbors offered sympathy, calling it just a small setback or not meant to be. But Daniel realized that every coin he earned, every small compliment, and every critique were part of the learning process. Each moment of struggle was teaching him how to survive and adapt in ways that comfort and ease could never provide. By the 3rd month, something remarkable started to happen. The improvements Daniel had made began to attract more customers. A few students came regularly to study in the quiet cafe. Families began visiting on weekends, and local office workers found the cafe a convenient place for lunch. Although the growth was slow, Daniel could see the results of persistence and small, thoughtful changes. One afternoon, a renowned food blogger visited the town and stumbled upon the cafe. She was intrigued by the effort and attention Daniel had given to the smallest details: presentation, aroma, and personal touch. She wrote a short review highlighting the unique charm of the place. Almost overnight, the cafe experienced a surge in visitors. Lines formed at the entrance, and Daniel's hard work finally began to pay off. It was in that moment Daniel understood a profound truth. The months of struggle, the moments when he felt like he was losing, were actually preparing him for success. Each failure had taught him resilience, creativity, and patience. Each small rejection had guided him toward improvements that made the cafe stronger and more appealing. What seemed like loss had been investment in experience and skill, something that no money could buy. This pattern of seeming loss turning into victory is not unique to Daniel. Many famous figures experienced periods of doubt and defeat before their breakthroughs. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before creating the electric light bulb. J.K. Rowling faced multiple rejections before publishing the Harry Potter series. Steve Jobs was fired from the company he founded, only to return and lead it to new heights. In each case, the struggles were not the end. They were the foundation of eventual success. Daniel's story also highlights an important mindset shift. When situations seem bleak, the mind tends to focus on what is lost, creating a sense of hopelessness. But those who succeed learn to reframe challenges as opportunities. Instead of seeing the empty cafe as failure, Daniel began to view it as a space to experiment, learn, and grow. Every customer interaction, every financial strain, and every problem solved became a stepping stone rather than a setback. Months turned into a year. Daniel expanded the cafe, hired staff, and introduced new services. He began offering cooking classes, hosting community events, and collaborating with local suppliers. Each new venture carried the lessons learned from early struggles. The cafe that once felt like a burden had become a thriving hub, a symbol of determination and growth. Daniel often reflected on those early days when he thought he was losing everything. He realized that the cafe's survival had depended not just on luck or skill, but on the lessons embedded in struggle. What seemed like failure was a rehearsal for success, a chance to refine ideas, build resilience, and prepare for larger challenges. Without those moments of uncertainty, the eventual growth would not have been possible. By the time Daniel's cafe became widely known, he had gained more than financial stability. He had learned patience, humility, adaptability, and strategic thinking. He also understood the value of perspective. How the mind interprets events can determine whether someone feels defeated or motivated. Winning often starts in the mind, long before it is reflected in external results. The story of Daniel serves as a reminder that circumstances do not define potential. Progress is rarely linear, and what appears to be a setback can be the very thing that pushes someone closer to their goals. Struggle, when approached with reflection and perseverance, transforms into experience, skill, and insight. True success often emerges from the lessons hidden within temporary losses. Ultimately, when people feel like they are losing, they are given an opportunity to grow, learn, and prepare for something greater. Each challenge contains the seeds of advantage for those willing to recognize it. Daniel's journey from near failure to thriving entrepreneur exemplifies this timeless truth. Winning often begins in the shadows of apparent loss. In life, perspective matters more than circumstance. The moments when everything seems to go wrong are often the moments shaping inner strength. Daniel's experience teaches that patience, resilience, and the willingness to learn turn apparent defeat into a foundation for lasting success. Every failure holds value. Every setback carries lessons, and every struggle can guide toward triumph. When reflection replaces frustration and learning replaces despair, what once seemed like losing transforms into the earliest stage of winning. The mind that embraces challenges as opportunities discovers growth where others see only defeat. Success is not a straight path. And loss is not always loss. It is a teacher, a guide, and a preparatory force. What feels like losing today might be the very moment that defines tomorrow's victory. As Daniel's story shows, recognition of this truth can change lives. By embracing struggle, learning from mistakes, and continuing to move forward with persistence, anyone can turn apparent losses into meaningful wins. For those watching today, take a moment to reflect on your own challenges. The moments you see as failures may carry lessons leading to your greatest achievements. Understanding that progress often hides within struggle is the first step toward a life where even setbacks contribute to success. If this story inspired you, consider giving it a thumbs up. Share it with someone who might need this perspective. And if you want to hear more real-life stories with powerful lessons that can change the way you see challenges and opportunities, don't forget to subscribe to the channel.